Please turn off all cell phones. Tonight we'll have a call to order and invocation, a pledge of allegiance with Pastor Chris Capola from City Church of Homestead, and the pledge of allegiance with the police at North and Councilman Nelson. Would you please stand with me? Looks like Pastor Capola is not here, so please join me. Heavenly Father, we just ask that you would bless this meeting, Father God, and that you would govern our business, and that our business would just be the most upfront, ethical business, Father God, and that we operate in pure transparency, Father God, as we stand before our city, Father, and that our business would be about your business, Father, that we would get everything accomplished in a good, timely, orderly fashion, Father God, and that we would exercise great wisdom in the business. Father, I just thank you for these people. I ask that you bless our citizens, Father, abundantly. And I thank you, Lord, and everyone says, Amen. Amen.
Please join me in pledging allegiance to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bond? Here. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Here.
Councilwoman Lopez? Here. Councilman McCormick?
Here.
Councilman Nelson?
Here.
Councilwoman Sierra? Here. Councilwoman Wellman? Here.
Additions, deletions, deferrals.
Madam Mayor, as I indicated earlier, we'd like to take tab 17 before tab 11. It's the fair share agreement before the actual land use item.
Thank you. I'm going to move up in the presentation agenda. I'm going to move up Public School Board Member Dr. Larry Feldman's presentation. I've been informed that he needs to be put up front because he has to go somewhere. Dr. Feldman, please come forward.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon, good evening, Homestead. It's a real pleasure to be here tonight because things don't always get a chance to be celebrated. And quite frankly, we have a lot to celebrate. This past year, our kids did really well here at Homestead, and it didn't just happen. It happened because there were a lot of people behind the scenes and in front who worked very hard for our schools. And last month, at a school board meeting, I was able to present a proclamation to the Homestead Education Committee. And so what I've asked is that I have a few minutes this evening to share those proclamations with you. Ms. Sierra, if you can come down also, I'd be really appreciative as our chair. And the mayor would be really great. And I have my helper here, one of our students, to help us out. So if you hand me some of those one blue one. Great. Thank you, sweetie. So with, I'll put him here, reminds me of my daughter. Proclamation reads, and then we'll go ahead and call people, okay? The school board of Miami-Dade County, Florida, whereas created 5 years ago by city ordinance, the City of Homestead Education Committee was established to assist local schools in promoting academic excellence and community involvement. The committee also advocates for the timely construction of more schools to serve the children of the rapidly growing Homestead area. And whereas Miami-Dade County Public Schools entered into an education compact with the city of Homestead, and whereas Mayor Linda Bell, Councilwoman Nazi Sierra, and the esteemed members of the Homestead Education Committee have been instrumental in fostering a strong relationship with the school district, and whereas the City of Homestead Education Committee has worked towards encouraging the academic achievement of all schools and students, and whereas Homestead has raised the level of academic achievement to include 11 A schools as opposed to 3 A schools last 2 years ago. That's right, 11. Now, therefore, be resolved that the School Board of Miami-Dade County, Florida, approve resolution number 0992 of the School Board of Miami-Dade County, Florida, recognizing the City of Homestead Education Committee for its work on behalf of the students and parents of Miami-Dade County Public Schools. A copy of the resolution is placed in the permanent records of this board, presented on the 15th of July when we originally did it, signed by our board chair, Dr. Solomon Stinson, and our school board superintendent of schools, Mr. Alberto Carvalho. So it gives me a great deal of pleasure, you can hold that and show people, that's cool. If we would be able to recognize, you want to do it, Nancy? You call the names.
I am so honored. I am so honored and proud to work with such an amazing group of people. The hard work, the dedication, the commitment to every single school, to every single child within our city limits and outside of our city limits, because we work with not just the schools in our city limit, we also work with the schools where children from the city actually attend. It is so important to be a part of a community. Children are our future. Education is our future. So if you're here, please come up. I know I already saw a couple of them. Dr. David Caravan. Miss Susan LaGuardia. Miss Wendy Lewis. Mr. Adrian Lopez. Dr. Jim Trampin. Oh, gorgeous group. Awesome. Mr. Jeremy Denzel. Mr. Jerome Williams. Miss Monica Whitaker. Mr. Thomas Neistat. I'm not sure if Cecilia McGrath is here. We have Miss Cecilia McGrath. We also have Miss Patricia Fairclough McCormick. Am I missing anyone that's here? I don't think so. Thank you. Thank you all for coming this evening. Oh, come on. Linda Bell, Mayor Linda Bell. Thank you very much. This group comes together once a month religiously. We did not take summer vacation. We also meet more than once a month. There was a time that we were writing the compact where many of the people that you see here today were meeting 2, 3, and 4 times in a week, and not just for 1 hour, for several hours, to make sure that we got everything that we needed to get done for your children and for the schools in our area. So I personally want to thank every single one of you. You make this committee the very best that it can be. It's a pleasure to work with you. I love your smile. And I'm looking forward to greater, bigger, better things for the coming school year. Thank you.
And just a quick thank you also. As we start our school year in about a week, our little kids yours and our older students will be going to school, and I know our officers will be watching to make sure that all of us are obeying the traffic signals. But I want to tell them it's going to be a great year, and when you see a smile like that, it can't be anything but wonderful. And so thank you very much, Homestead. It's a pleasure being your school board member.
Thank you so much.
It's a little quick.
Next on the agenda, farm share presentation by Patricia Robbins, co-founder and chair. Turn the microphone on.
Thank you very much, Mayor and council members. The headline of my presentation is Farm Share Saving Miami-Dade County Millions. The Farm Share program must maintain its county funding level of $280,500 or face closing its individual distribution center that is within the city limits of Homestead that provides direct support to 6,000 families in Miami-Dade County. Allowing this individual distribution center to fail would be a gross waste of county dollars. At the current time, the proposed funding for farm share is zero. The individual distribution center provides almost 4 million pounds of food to these families each year at a value of $7 million. Families pick up from farm share monthly. They sign a document. They are in need and meet the federal guidelines for poverty. The possible loss of this program is a crisis that will affect the most vulnerable in our county. Seniors, underprivileged children, veterans, and the record number of unemployed will suffer directly and immediately beginning October 1st. It is the responsibility of government to provide basic services to its community, and emergency food during major economic crisis should be prioritized appropriately. The economic crisis is a disaster that is taking away livelihoods and homes from the citizens of Miami-Dade County and Homestead. It would be inconceivable for the county to ignore the need and comparable to failing to provide food to victims of natural disasters such as hurricanes and tornadoes. Failing to fund farm share would result directly in over 6,500 families residing south of Miller Drive who are now suffering from hunger unless the farm share food is fair. After farm share is gone, the county will be left with the problem of how to provide $7 million worth of food each year to its most vulnerable residents. At the moment, this food is provided for free from our local farmers and the United States Department of Agriculture. But the expenses needed to distribute it must be provided, and this highly efficient solution will turn into a very big problem for the County and the City of Homestead unless it is funded. FarmShare also provides fresh vegetables, donated bread, juices, canned goods, and USDA commodities to 250 Miami-Dade County agencies, such as the Homestead Soup Kitchen here in Homestead, church pantries, homeless programs, domestic violence programs, senior citizen centers, and community action agencies. On a budget of $1.3 million, using volunteers, inmate labor, and a small dedicated staff, FarmShare provides $23 million of food to the people of Florida each year. Help us keep this program operational. Ask the county to provide $600,000 to meet this current need. This critical need for food has been increasing and is triple from what it was in December. The last time we were open for sign-ups for families was the middle of December, and 978 families signed up in one day. The need has tripled. It hasn't just doubled. We need to double the funding for this program, and we need to meet the needs of our hungry, our seniors, our people who are living on fixed incomes. I would like to read one letter from the agencies who have responded to our request for the letter of support. I'm going to read you 60 letters for you to read. This one is from Lieutenant Colonel Emily Matthews of the Civil Air Patrol, United States Air Force Auxiliary Southwood Squadron. It says, we, the staff of Southwood Civil Air Patrol, would like to thank you for feeding the families within our South Miami-Dade communities. We receive calls weekly from parents who have lost jobs and they have no food to feed their children. We service many single mothers who have 3 or more children and they're working 2 jobs trying to make ends meet. However, they don't have enough money after paying their bills to feed their children. We receive calls daily asking for food. Our program feeds over 168 families, over 40 walk-ins, and most of the time we run out of food while families are waiting in line. This is America, the greatest country in the world. Our families should never go to bed hungry. I believe that together we can solve this problem. First, we must focus on other resources. Next, contact major organizations and cities that can assist with funds. This problem can be solved. I believe that what we say is what we get. Thank you for supporting and feeding the people in our program. I want to ask the City of Homestead, Mayor, and council members to, as a whole and individually, if you have a relationship with our Board of County Commissioners and our Mayor, will you please write to our board and ask them to support FarmShare to help feed the needy in Miami-Dade County and Homestead.
Thank you, Patricia. I think we can handle that.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming tonight. I know it's a dire situation for many CBOs and not-for-profits. Many organizations are in the very same boat. It's a very tough economic year. So thank you so much, Patricia.
Yes. Just a comment.
Councilman.
I know what happened to it, Patricia. I just wanted to tell you that just this week, I know that they do a soup kitchen at the Methodist Church, and they were depending on FarmShare for their bread, and that's not going to happen now. And I can't tell you how many senior citizens that I know personally that go to FarmShare and get their condiments and their supplies. So, Mayor, could we do it as a group? Could we write a letter as a group and support it as a group?
I don't know if you have a problem with that because it's nothing that would be an actionable item, but I'll just check it with our lawyers to be sure. I don't see a problem.
More powerful as a
Yes, that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next item, we have a legislative report with Bob Levy, our lobbyist extraordinaire. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and Mr. Vice Mayor and Council. Let me first thank you all for majority of you, I believe, were at the Florida League of Cities this weekend. The big picture that they presented isn't going to get any better this evening, so let me warn you in advance. Secondly, I can't stress enough how invaluable it is that you give your time away from your businesses and your homes to make that trip and to spend that time in all those very long meetings and conferences. As you all know, we've had discussions since that meeting, during that meeting, about the very valuable input. And Mr. Vice Mayor, I'd like to thank you for getting up at 7:30 to hear me speak. And I would be remiss if, I'm sure that she's been recognized here before, but I happen to know personally that Patricia Fairclough McCormick is not only the Dade County Teacher of the Year, but was one of the 5 finalists for the State Teacher of the Year. Thank you. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, session ended May 8th. By any estimation, it was probably one of the worst sessions in the history of the state. I don't know that the forces that happened this year can ever happen again. Let's just hope that they don't. I stood before you a year ago and told you that it was going to be a great session, and I'm here tonight to tell you regrettably that it was. We stayed an extra week just to deal with the budget. And that budget, including the cuts to farm share, unfortunately, went from $73 billion 2 years ago to $66.5 billion currently. So we cut $7 billion from the budget. You all know what that's like because you're struggling with that yourselves here, the county's struggling with it, and Dr. Feldman and the school board are struggling with it. We passed $1 a pack for cigarettes starting July 1, which generates $1 billion a year. We passed a gaming compact, which is on the deadline of August 31st, which looks like it's probably not going to get okayed, which means that we're going to lose the revenue from the gaming compact as it's proposed. Not only, and I only learned this recently, all of the things that we did for our own pari-neutrals are tied to the gaming compact. So if the gaming compact isn't approved, we lose all of the incentives that we did for our own pari-neutrals, including the reduced tax rate and everything else. We passed $1.8 billion in new fees. Everyone in this room was going to be touched by something that the fee went up for. This list, which I've shared with the manager, is a sad statement. $1.8 billion in new fees. That $66 billion includes $5.3 billion in stimulus dollars. So we actually went from $73 billion to $60 billion in 2 years. We even took money for the first time ever in the history of the state from the Transportation Trust Fund, $120 million. We took a total of $2.2 billion in trust fund money. Trust fund money that the citizens of Florida were asked to trust to a specific need and a specific purpose, all of which went into general revenue. We took $1.1 billion from the Budget Stabilization Fund. So if we add all of those things together, you can see what it looks like going into the coming session. We increased tuition 15%. We passed legislation that says citizens' property insurance will go up 10% a year, every year until they're actually sound, which I don't believe they will ever be, 10% a year. That's the budget picture, Madam Mayor and Council. Let me talk about a couple of other things that were done to us as a municipal government and to us as citizens of Florida. Additional homestead exemption for first-time homeowner property buyers. If approved by 60% of the voters in November 2010, these provisions take effect January 2011. We exempted school district levies, but the annual maximum assessment charge on non-homestead residential property is reduced from 10% to 5% of the previous year's assessment. Also, the bill provides first-time homebuyers a property tax exemption equal to 25% of the property's just value, not to exceed $100,000 in the first year. The exemption is reduced 20% every year thereafter. The accident response fee. which will prohibit cities from charging users for the cost of services, and will result in cities having to rely on general revenues such as property taxes to pay for these services. An impact fee bill passed, which is an unfunded mandate. It reduces the authority of local government to impose impact fees. It eliminates the presumption of collection for impact-free ordinances and the authority, of course, to give deference to them when they are challenged in court. The bill shifts the burden of proof to the government to prove by a preponderance of evidence that the amount of the fee and its imposition meet the requirement of state legal precedent. Senate Bill 216, which is now law, restricts the ability of local government to communicate and advocate on significant matters that directly affect your city or the quality of life of your constituents. Public construction projects. The bill requires local government to competitively bid any project to construct or improve any public building or project in excess of $300,000 and for electrical work in excess of $70,000. Current law is $200,000 and $50,000 respectively. The bill also provides that if you want to perform a public project using your own employees and equipment, you're required to hold a public hearing so that other bidders can discuss and potentially dispute the cost estimate. The mayor and I were discussing earlier just what eliminating meetings costs, and the legislature is passing legislation to require you to hold meetings. Expedited permit process for economic development passed, requiring DEP or Water Management District to adopt programs to expedite processing of environmental resource permits and wetland resource permits. Under the guise, I believe misguided, of economic stimulus, Senate Bill 360 passed. A comprehensive overhaul of growth management regulation with the goal of stimulating economic development and promoting development in urban areas. There was a bill that was a little note, 7031, which passed this amendment successfully put in place, and I'm proud to tell you, put in place by freshman member Representative Blake Lloyd at the behest, at our behest, working with the manager, Joanna, and the attorney, which actually, I'll tell you exactly what it does. The bill makes programmatic changes to the Rural Economic Development Initiative and the Rural Infrastructure Fund, including codifying the Catalyst Project Initiative currently underway by the state's rural area of critical economic concern. Dwight was able to amend this to include South Miami-Dade County in the bill. We did this by expanding the definition of rural in several sections of statute to provide greater economic development incentive opportunities for areas in economic need. I'm also pleased to stand before you and tell you that every one of the bills that I just mentioned, which I believe are adversely interested municipalities, Dwight will vote against. Every single one of them. Another bill which would make it easier to rip out thirsty sod and put in landscaping that needs less water and fertilizer had a last-minute amendment which hands over power to issue state permits for water use and for wetlands destruction to just 5 people, the executive directors of the water management districts in the state. That's what passed. Now I'll spend a minute with your permission telling you what didn't pass. The annual battle for Bert Harris reared his ugly head, taking away sovereign immunity for municipalities in Bert Harris-related takings of property. We were able, working with Rebecca O'Hara at the League of Cities, to stop that little bit in its track. It'll be back, and they're going to continue to be back as long as they can find sponsors to file the bill. Red light cameras. A lot of municipalities, I know you've moved forward with your own ordinance, a lot of municipalities are now saying, why should we pass a state law when we can have 100% of the revenue to ourselves? I would urge you to look carefully at the fact that I believe that the state law, which permits access to DOT highways within your city, offsets that cost. Today, you can't put a camera on a DOT right away. We need statewide standards, we need some kind of, whatever we do, we're going to make sure that the municipalities in Florida get their fair share of that revenue. The dreaded Tabor legislation, Colorado being the only state where this is passed, which is now on a 5-year moratorium, by the way, in Colorado because it got so drastic. This would replace existing state revenue limit based on Florida personal income growth. New state and local government revenue limits based on inflation and population changes. This is a proposed constitutional amendment which was filed in the Senate by Senator Macaronis, who's the incoming president of the Senate. I can assure you that it will pass the Senate this year, and hopefully we'll be able to stop it in the House. The 1.35% proposal to limit the total ad valorem tax on the parcel of real property to 1.35 of the highest taxable value of the property has already been refiled for the coming session. There was also legislation to place a 3-year moratorium on the imposition and collection of all impact fees by a municipality. All impact fees. Thankfully, all those bills died. The only other thing I would add, Madam Mayor and Council, is law enforcement agencies are collecting less revenue from fines generated by traffic tickets. You may not even notice that. You lose about $5 in revenue on the average speeding violation that takes place within your city. There are cities where if they have to send the officer to court, they're actually losing money on the ticket. And finally, as you're well aware and as you heard a lot of discussion this past weekend, Hometown Democracy, which is now called Amendment 4, and I'm told by the leader to stop calling it Hometown Democracy because that's not what it is. It's Amendment 4 on the 2010 ballot. The state's verified enough signatures to get its amendment on the ballot. This requires local government to seek voter approval for local land use changes. This is frankly in my mind, and since you won't be able to spend any money telling anyone about that, it's killing a fly with a sledgehammer. It will stall development just when we're trying to revive our economy. It's a very big picture, Madam Mayor and Councilman. I'm happy to take any questions or apologize for the length of the report. There's a lot of bad legislation that happened.
It was excellent. I remember there was a time many, many years ago when the federal legislature used to meet every other year. I think that maybe we ought to have a constitutional amendment so that they could meet every other year so that they could do less damage. So maybe if they didn't meet as often, they would do less damage. So maybe that's one amendment that we would actually support. Thank you for bringing up Amendment 4. It was very talked about along with Tabor at the Florida cities. And this Amendment 4 would be so devastating. What you'd have is anytime you have any type of land use change or anything, you would have to have a vote of the residents. But when you elect us, we are the vote. We are the ones who, that means you're going to have developers campaigning and lobbying people in order to get their support to get something passed. So rather than have this type of a bureaucracy, you're going to create a far larger one. So we need to do as much as we can to explain what, and I call it anti-hometown democracy, because it really isn't hometown democracy. The one good thing that was passed when we had, some of these constitutional amendments really challenge me. And when you keep playing with your state constitution, you're going to end up with the pregnant pig amendment, which is actually puts the pig farmers right out of business in the state of Florida. It was just a bunch of nonsense, but it was just advertised and sold to the point where, people had this picture of animals being tortured. That was just not the case. But the bottom line of what I'm trying to say is we have to be very, very careful and analyze any constitutional amendment. The one good thing is that constitutional amendments must now be passed with 60% of the vote rather than a simple majority or 50% plus one. So this is a good thing. But hometown democracy or anti-hometown democracy would really hurt the cities, hurt the municipalities, hurt the residents. You would not believe what could happen with a bill like that. So we must get the word out. And then the other piece of legislation that a lobbyist was talking about was that the legislature passing something that would prohibit the cities from informing you with dollars about something that's going on would be a constitutional amendment or something that was going to go on the ballot. So if as a city government we found something that was going to go on the ballot that we found that was going to have a very negative impact upon our municipality, upon the citizens, we are not permitted to spend any dollars to educate you. So that was one of the things too. So I think it's time for us to have meetings and meet with the people in the community and just start educating people on these constitutional amendments. And remember something: if you vote something down, you're right where you are. If you vote something in on the Constitution, it stays. I mean, it's almost impossible to, once something is voted into the Constitution, to have it removed. So thank you so much. It was absolutely a very informative update.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for your work. We do appreciate your work in Tallahassee for us.
Mayor, if I could just add one thing on the hometown democracy, Amendment 4. I've got to get out of my head.
Amendment 4.
Amendment 4. We learned over the weekend that there's nothing in that bill, in the constitutional amendment, that says when the election has to be held. So from a developer standpoint, they can wait a year and a half for that election to be held. From a city standpoint, they can be having elections at $50,000, $75,000 a pop every month, if need be, to please the people that want the change. All of that will be in the implementing bill, which the legislature will do.
Yeah, we have to stop that. And also, some of us on council, we went and had a face-to-face meeting with Senator Herodopoulos when he was here in Miami that you helped facilitate. And I think the fact that we take the time and drive all the way downtown to meet with the senator, and I will say, in their defense, a lot of them, they really believe that they're doing good. They're doing something that benefits the overall state without weighing the ramifications and the intent that it's going to have the impact on the cities. So we did have a face-to-face with Herodopoulos. It was a few of us. So we will go individually and discuss this with the senator.
Thank you, Mary. My personal thanks, and Jose Diaz, my associate, and everyone in my Tallahassee office, my thanks to the manager, Joanna, and to the attorney for always responding to any inquiry we make that's specific to the city, and to the mayor and council for supporting Dade County Day and for coming up and making that trip to Tallahassee, which I know is so important to do.
It is. It's so important. Just a day or two there, and you have a face-to-face with the members of the legislature. It's so impactful. It's so powerful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Our next presentation is Emergency Management Association International presentation with Executive Director, our friend, North Pressa. Bonjour.
First of all, before we start the meeting, I'm going to the president of the association, which is Mr. Leonard Dijon, and we're going to explain why we have to do this small presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, everyone. Yes, we do this today is because we have, on July 21st, we inaugurate this organization, emergency organization called EMI. If we will describe the whole word, it stands for Emergency Management Agency International. We come in addition to those that already existed in the Miami-Dade County to help with disasters and other events that may occur. So yes, on the 21st was our grand opening, and we did have several members from the city of Homestead, and we have the mayor and Mayor Bell, and as well as city councilwoman Wendy Labs, and we would like to thank them for their presence and also for their support to these organizations. And today we have we have 2 awards to present to them for the efforts, for the support that they give to the community. And if you allow us, can you pass to us, please? Just one moment. And I would like to present this award certificates for two Mayor Linda Bell. And would you please come forward, Mayor, to receive this certificate? And also, we would like to call forward Mrs. Nazi Sierra. And we'll present this to Wendy, City Councilwoman, Wendy Loros. And I'm sorry if I didn't take the time to read each certificate to you. Well, this time I think Ms. Lotus is the most lucky. This one too. And it says, in recognition of devoted and valuable service in the grand opening of Emergency Management Agency International, which is mine, we present this to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
One more thing, we really appreciate the support now, and I know that took your time on a busy schedule to come and attend emergency management. Thank you so much.
It was our pleasure. It was our pleasure. It was great turnout. A pleasure. Great turnout. Thank you.
Yes,
Picture?
Mrs. family, thank you very much. And Mr. President.
The last thing I want to say, thank you everyone. I know the schedule is a bit, you are very busy schedule, you have to leave. But don't forget, we're going to have a Creole class starting September 3rd from 7 to 9, 2 hours. So if you need any information, you can call this number 786 229 8681. That's 786 229 8681. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And, Mr. President, merci beaucoup. Oh, I can say that too. Thank you. We now have the Officer of the Month presentation, July 2009, Officer Louis Zabaleta with Councilman Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, council members, Mr. City Manager, Chief Roll, Captain Kent, Captain Chong, Captain Bowe, Lieutenant Sinclair, Sergeant Rowe. Good evening, everyone. I am Captain Angela Washington with the Homestead Police Department, and on behalf of our Awards Committee, I am pleased to announce to you our Officer of the Month for the month of July 2009, Officer Louis Zavaleta. Officer Zavaleta has been a part of our police department's family for 4 years. He started with us in March of 2005. He is presently assigned to the Uniform Patrol Division, and he works the afternoon shift. Officer Zavaleta is described by his supervisor as having the ability to interact and adapt to the different scenarios effectively and quickly. For example, his supervisors has witnessed him deal with family crises compassionately in 1 minute, and then with a violent career criminal the next. During the month of July, Officer Zavaleta had 8 arrests, which included narcotics, domestic violence, a bench warrant, and other misdemeanor crimes. And I would like to share with you a couple of scenarios for the month of July. On July 11th, Officer Zavaleta responded to a strong-arm robbery which had just occurred. The subject had severely beaten the victim, leaving him lying in the streets bleeding. A description of the subjects was provided as Officer Zavaleta began searching the area, he located 2 subjects matching the description, running northbound from the incident location. Officer Zavaleta pursued the subjects, catching up with them and ordering them to the ground at gunpoint. The victim and 2 witnesses were able to identify the subjects as the perpetrator of the crime. Both were subsequently arrested and charged with strong-arm robbery. Once at the station, Officer Zavaleta used his persuasive interviewing skills and obtained full confessions from both subjects. On July 20th, while on routine patrol, Officer Zavaleta was flagged down by a passerby who advised him of a female who was soliciting people for sex as they drove south on Chrome Avenue. Officer Zavaleta located the female and made a citizen contact. While conducting the citizen contact, Officer Zavaleta observed a homemade crack pipe which contained cocaine residue sticking out of her bra strap, which she had attempted to conceal. The female was arrested and charged accordingly. On July 22nd, Officer Zavaleta observed a female riding her bicycle southbound in the northbound lane against traffic. Once she was safely out of harm's way, Officer Zavaleta made another citizen contact. During the conversation, Officer Zavaleta noticed that she too had a homemade crack pipe partially sticking out of her waistband. She was taken into custody without incident. In summary, Officer Zavaleta is a very kind and respectful officer. He is energetic and very productive and proactive when carrying out his duties. His supervisors are very proud of his work ethics and performance. In fact, they agree that he is very dependable and will perform and complete any task assigned to him. He consistently produces quality stats which aid in our efforts to keep our community safe and a better place to live. So having said all of that, please join me in congratulating Officer Zavaleta.
On behalf of Mayor and Council, I'd like to present this plaque to you. Presented to Officer Louis Zavaleta for being selected Officer of the Month for July 2009. Along with the plaque and the recognition comes a bunch of gifts from the local business communities. And Awards Incorporated donated the plaque. The City Attorney, Weiss Sorota Helpman, donated $100. First National Bank of South Florida, $50 savings bond. Community Bank of Florida, $50 savings bond. Ferguson Jeweler, a $75 gift certificate. Broadway Subs, 2 $10 gift certificates. Havana Joe's, a $25 gift certificate. Creative Threads, store on 505 North Chrome, a free off-duty polo.
Blake Chevrolet, a $300 value, lube, oil, and filter, car detailing, tire rotation. Captain Car Wash, a free $20 car wash. Rita Jensen, 2 memberships to the Homestead Community Concerts. Dinner for 2 at Maya's Cafe. And McLean's Forest, a $30 gift certificate. Congratulations. First, I want to thank the Mayor, City Council for all the support. Also want to thank the Chief O, Major Kenny, and all the command staff for all the support. Also want to thank my afternoon supervisors for supporting me. But at least not last, I want to thank all my fellow officers and my detectives. Without them, I wouldn't be here today. Thank you. You put this here. You can take yourself up. You didn't have a picture.
Congratulations. Next presentation, flag presentation to the Rowe family with Councilman Nelson.
This next presentation I wanted to give to our chief and his family.
Can you wait 1 second? I see that we have, I was going to introduce you guys, but before you leave, I would like to introduce, I see we have some Boy Scouts with us. I'm sorry, are you working on a particular badge? Citizenship or government? Very good. We're glad that you're with us. I was going to call you after the presentation. Thank you for coming back. Anything we can do for you at City Hall, you let us know. Thank you, and welcome to our council chambers. Thank you. I'm sorry, Councilman, I just didn't want to let them go out without being recognized. Thank you.
This next award I wanted to give to the Royal family. As you all know, besides being chief of our police department, he has a son in the NFL. And what his son gives back to this community is immense. The amount of functions he charities, guest speakers, and when I was at awards for the scholarship fund, they give out an award to the local high schools. This year, I think it was 3 of them to Southgate and Homestead. But in the award, the recipient has to come back to the community and give back to the community. And if you know the Royal family, they give back to the community in a lot of ways. I have a list of, well, it's long. And I wanted to present this back to you and your family. Award of Recognition presented to the Royal family, August 2009, in honor of dedication, leadership in the Southgate community from the city of Homestead.
So say a few words. First of all, I want to thank the mayor, vice mayor, city council, city manager, and also deputy city manager for the award tonight from my family. This has not been done for recognition. This is something that was instilled in me a long time ago when I was a little boy. They always say, you never forget where you came from, because you never are going back there one day. So I think my son remember that, and we share this award. Thank you very much, appreciate it. And Councilman Nelson, special thanks. And also for those who
especially my staff who supported me for 30 years I've been here, and also the community who supported me for I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but a long time. So with that being said, thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. And again,
Chief, we believe that one day Andre will be almost as famous as you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. But again, thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Next is a certificate of appreciation. Oh, you want to get a picture? Next, we have a certificate of appreciation presented to K-9 Officer Brian Kennedy and Officer Giovanni Soto.
Councilman Sierra come down also. Last month, I received an email from a couple of residents from Waterstone. I'd like to read what one of them wrote. On behalf of the Waterstone community, we'd like to commend the City of Homestead Police Department for their apprehensive and apprehension of a residential burglar within our community. On May 25th, 2009, approximately 4:30 in the afternoon, an alert resident observed a suspicious person walking around one of the homes located within the Floridian Bay Estates, a subdivision, and immediately notified Homestead Police. Dispatchers quickly provided a description of the subject. Officers Brian Kennedy and Giovanni Soto responded to the scene quickly. Officer Kennedy and the Soto arrived on scene within minutes, conducted a search, and eventually apprehended the juvenile person who was breaking into a lot of homes out in the Waterstone area. And they didn't make Officer of the Month that month, but they've done a lot, and I wanted to give them a special recognition for that. Officer Kennedy has been with the force for 25 years, been Officer of the Month 8 times, and was Officer of the Year in 2008. Officer Soto has been with the department for 5 years, a reserve officer for 5 months, and with corrections for 5 years. He's been with the city for 4 years on top of that. He's had 8 letters of commendations, and Officer of the Month once.
I'm right here.
And I wanted to just give this to Officer Brian Kennedy and Officer Giovanni Soto. This certificate is awarded to Officer Brian Kennedy and Officer Giovanni Soto, Homestead Police Department, in recognition of your commitment to maintaining a good partnership between the Homestead Police and the Waterstone community. The City of Homestead salutes you.
So the best for last, Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council, City Manager, Chief of Administrative Staff. It's a great honor and pride that I accept this on behalf of myself and Giovanni Soto and behalf of the well-deserving men and women of our police department that go on to a good job every day. I'd like to also applaud the council and the chief and administrative staff also for providing us the tools and necessities we need to go out and protect the citizens. They were very well deserving of that. Thanks very much. Have a nice night.
Thank you.
I want to thank the city manager, city mayor, and council members. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Give them a minute to calm out. Fine. Are you song and dance? Just when the good stuff starts. Thank you very much. We now have the consent agenda before us. I'll entertain a motion to move the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
The item has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions on the consent agenda? All in favor say aye. Aye. The ayes carried. Thank you. Moving right on. Public hearings, ordinances, land uses.
Madam Mayor, would you take that item 17 before I forget it?
It's after tab 10.
Okay, but it's not quasi-judicial, so I was going to do it before I read the statement. Okay. It's a resolution, item 7B, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a transportation proportionate share agreement between the City of Homestead and San Remo Homes at Florida City LLC, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move it.
A second. That has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions for the attorney or staff on this item?
Mayor Bell, I have a question.
Councilwoman?
Tab 17 is related to tab 11, right? And may you explain the purpose as to why we heard this first before going forth with tab 11?
Yes, Councilwoman Lewis. It's because this item is a legislative item, and this item deals with the certificate of concurrency for this application. In order for this application to move forward and be heard by you for consideration for site plan and TPAT, you first must establish that this project has concurrency, and this transportation proportionate fair share agreement does that. It sets forth the parameters in the code for a certificate of concurrency. So that's why you're hearing this first before you hear the site plan and TPAT.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions from council? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the ayes carry. Thank you.
Now, quasi-judicial items. Please be advised that the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment on any of these items, please indicate the item number you wish to address, but whether an announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing that all testimony, including public testimony evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. And I wish either to be cross-examined or sworn to testimony given its due weight. The general public not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk in accordance with Section 2591. Any lobbyists must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. This time, council members must disclose the ex parte communication concerning items on the agenda. At this time, the clerk will swear in any witnesses who wish to testify on any quasi-judicial item.
Please stand and raise your right hand. I state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you.
Moving on, tab 10 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request of Rodavo Estates, Inc. for rezoning from Restricted Retail Commercial District B1 to Liberal Business District B3 for property located at 800 North Flagler Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
I will entertain a motion for so moved.
Second.
The item has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any questions for or comments from members of council, for staff, or the applicant? This is a public hearing. Are there any comments from any members of the public that would like to address this item at this time? Thank you. Any further comments or questions from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman? Yes. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos? Yes. Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on, tab 11 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, providing for site plan approval and preliminary plat for Keys Lake, consisting of 205 townhome units on approximately 25.72 acres of land, located on Southwest 336th Street and Southwest 172nd Avenue, east of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. So moved.
Second.
The item has been properly moved and seconded. Before we go in there, I wanted to give a little history. This project dates back, because before I hear from any residents saying, oh, the last thing we need is 200 more townhouses, this goes back to 2005. And this project, I have to say, has probably met with more, I hate to use the word bad luck, but that was the case. It's been met with quite a bit of misfortune, has gone through a land use change, then we went through a land use change on the parcel, and then we had a building moratorium. We had reduced the density down to 10, and then after the moratorium, we further reduced the density down to 8. So the developer has been, I must say, very, very cooperative, but this does go back to 2005. This is a second reading, and I remember this going back, and I did ask Ms. Kamali for a bit of an update on this. Ms. Kamali, did you want to say anything on this, on the record?
Good evening. Sure. This is a tentative plan approval for 205 townhouses, and this project has been before the council since March of 2004 and 2005, and has gone through land use change and the zoning, and this is the TPLAT and site plan. Additionally, I would like to add that at this time, the future land use, the zoning, and everything else complies with all our requirements.
Yes, thank you very much. I believe Vice-Man has a question?
Yes, I was on the variances. Could you just explain, because I can't remember when we met last time, why you're looking for a 5-foot setback instead of 20 instead of 25 foot, and then I believe 20 versus 15, either staff or...
That was clarified, I think.
Yes. Would you like me to respond? Sure. The minimum setback for the front is 25 feet. The applicant requested to have 20 feet, and only on one Model D, the setback in the back has been reduced to 17 versus 20. These variances were approved administrative years ago, and they have been staying with the project. The applicant, per request of the planning and zoning, eliminated one of the variances, was 10 feet setback, and revised the site plan since May 13 of 2009 to what is presented in front of you.
And the variance that was questioned in the planning and zoning meeting has been resolved?
Yes.
Thank you.
Excuse me, James, wasn't that withdrawn?
Yes. The applicant presented a regular variance at the Planning and Zoning Board. There was much discussion, and there was a tie vote at the P&Z Board. Subsequent to that meeting, the applicant went back to the drawing board, withdrew that variance, and is not moving forward for your consideration of that variance.
Thank you. Are there any further comments? Yes, Mary, have a comment, my name?
In recent weeks, I've been getting a lot of calls in reference to parks on the east side and green areas and open spaces on the east side. So one of my concerns today was in reference to the green spaces in the area. But I was very happy to learn on page 128, where it states that this project will have 4 common open spaces. They are also going to have, in addition to that, 2 tot lots with recreational amenities. So I was very glad to hear that that was incorporated into the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lobos.
Thank you. I would like and would appreciate, just for clarification, I read the P&Z minutes, and I know that one of the contentions, as it was mentioned before, it was the variance. In your presentation, if the applicant or whoever's here representing the applicant, may you be thorough in just the variance and what went away, so that I can clearly understand that everything that P&Z was addressing has gone away?
Good evening, Viola Ortiz, and I'm joined by Juan Mayor with the law firm of Holmes and 701 Brooklyn Avenue, Miami. also joined by Amy Terrace and Christina Peters of Ford on Terrace. They're the community planner for this project, and then Mr. Marco Renamone of Serena Homes, who's a developer and owner of the subject property. When this site plan went to the Planning and Zoning Board in Maine, there was, the code requires for townhouse units to have a 10-foot side setback between each building. The plan did not include that 10-foot side setback, although there was a green area that effectively had the same result in terms of the site plan design. The property lot line and the buildings didn't meet that 10-foot side setback requirement. So there was a lot of discussion and concern about not meeting that variance, not meeting that requirement by the Planning and Zoning Board. And as a result, the applicant went back, redesigned the plan to meet all of the side setback requirements. I do want to say it did not result in any change in the design of the site plan. It really just shifted the buildings and property lines. It affected more of the plat and the property lines more than the site plan design itself.
Councilwoman.
Thank you. And so my follow-up question is, we did away with the variance, the request for that variance, and still you were able to remain at 205 units?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Also, this is a reduction from 255 units to 205 units because when we enacted the building moratorium, requirements, and what that came back, they had originally 255, and then they had to renegotiate back down to 205. So that's a net loss of 50 units. So, like I said, this has been ongoing as long as I can really remember. This is way back before there was a pipeline in the pipeline. Councilwoman Melvin.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that you have always worked with us, and I remember back in 2005 we were pretty hard on them, and they kept coming back, and I'm very pleased that this has been withdrawn from P&Z, the requirement that you asked, because I read those minutes as well, and I was hesitant. So thank you very much. And once again, cooperating and doing the right thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Any further questions?
Yeah, one quick question to that. What is the significance of the 17 on the one model? Is it because it's a bigger model? Okay.
That's just a bigger model. And it's an end unit.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. All comments are welcome from the public at this time. Thank you. We'll now close the public hearing. Any further comments or questions from members of the council for the applicant or for staff? Thank you very much. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Walton? Yes. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robles?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next item.
Yes, moving on to tab 12. Tab 12 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a request of John D. Stevens for a 12-month extension to a previously approved site plan for a commercial retail development consisting of a 14,727 square foot pharmacy with drive-through, a 3,495 square foot bank with drive-through lanes, and an 8,450 square foot retail building on approximately 2.99 acres of land located at the southeast corner of Southwest 162nd Avenue, Farm Life School Road, and Southwest 328th Street, North Canal Drive, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Second. The item has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from members of council for staff or for the applicant?
Mayor, for staff, this is the first extension?
Yes.
So we'll be doing this one, and there'll be one more new.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions?
Mayor Bell?
Yes, Councilwoman Lobos.
I had a comment and I'm trying to pull it up right now. As most of the site plans that we see here are because of economic conditions. That is the reason why we need an extension of site plan. I was disappointed to see here that Durham is holding up this project and extensively there's just a category of things that they're looking to meet, and so I'm hoping, I don't know if the applicant is here,
Have you moved forward with that? What is exactly, you said property next to it is what the letter described. Is it the school, or is it, what is holding up, and what is the property that you're referring to in your letter?
Councilman Lobos, and for the record, Jeffrey Flanagan, offices of Flanagan and Willard at 1450 Madrid Avenue in Coral Gables. The Durham holdup is a function of I think it's a lift station from my school road that has been installed by another developer, but there are issues related to, I believe it's the ultimate conveyance of that utility to the county, and until some side issues are resolved and that gets conveyed, we're not allowed to hook up because they're not recognizing it as an existing facility to hook up to. So that's my understanding of the issue, and that has delayed, and that's between that and a couple other issues have caused a large domino effect on the entire permitting process.
With Durham, I must say we feel your pain. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, council members, it's my understanding this was an ongoing issue, but I inquired today with Julio, and it's my understanding this issue was resolved. Okay. So Jeff is absolutely correct. They did have this issue to connect to the sewer system.
It may have been resolved. I'm not involved in the engineering aspect of it on a daily basis, but I know that had just caused a huge delay along with some water management district permitting issues.
Certainly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Are there any further comments or questions from members of council for the applicant or for staff? Any members of the public would like to address this item at this time? Thank you. We'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman? Yes. Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
Yes. Your next item is tab 13, a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a request of BDG Grove Plaza, LLC, for a 12-month extension to a previously approved site plan for a commercial development consisting of 82,712 square feet of development on approximately 5.04 acres of land located in the southwest corner of Southwest 137th Avenue and Northeast 15th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for approval. I'll second. The item has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from any members of council for staff or the applicant? This is a public hearing. Any comments or questions from any member of the public at this time? Thank you. We will now close the public hearing. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, council members, I just want to clarify one thing here. There's a payment schedule for the
Cost recovery.
We did not say in the resolution when it starts, but it's commencing immediately. I will not waive it.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that understood? Okay, thank you. Yes, absolutely. Any further comments or questions from any members of council? The public hearing is now closed. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Lobos? Yes. Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman? Yes. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Legislative matters.
Second ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending various sections of Chapter 6 Building and Building Regulations, Article 8, Flood Damage Prevention, to update the city's regulations to comply with the participating criteria of the National Flood Insurance Program and floodplain management-related requirements of the state of Florida, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and an effective date. This is a second reading and public hearing.
I'll entertain a motion on the approval. The items been properly moved and seconded. This is a second reading. This is a federal mandate. It actually gives us a whole new level of flood elevations. So this is actually very good. Mr. Manager?
And Mayor, council members, I also want the public to know, people watching at home, that this is a great program for the community as a result of what the staff did working with the insurance industry. They practically have a reduction of 10% on their flood insurance premium.
Which saves a lot of money.
Absolutely.
It saves the citizens and residents who have been redesignated from a flood area to a non-flood area. Yes, Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes, I just wanted to point out to the council and to the public that the maps that were presented by Ms. Sharika Marine Development Services last time are up and running. The link is on the website. If you can remind me, please, Mayor, under what tab are the maps that were presented that deal with the FEMA insurance rate changes?
On the website, you mean?
Yes.
I believe it's under the Development Services portal.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further comments or questions from council? This is a public hearing. Any members of the public would like to address this item at this time? Thank you. We'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman? Yes. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos? Yes. Mayor Bell?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item.
Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 9, Finance Division 1 generally of the City Code of Ordinances by creating Section 2441, adopting an investment policy providing for severability, inclusion in the code, and an effective date.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
The item has been properly moved and seconded. This is, by the way, this is a zero financial impact to the city. Mr. Manager, would you please explain this item?
Mayor, council members, I want to defer it immediately to Jan. She's the one who worked on it, and I am very well aware of the changes, but I'd like Jan to explain.
Thank you. Jan?
Mayor, Council, according to Chapter 218 of the Florida statutes, in order to invest the city's excess funds in certain investment vehicles, we're required to pass an ordinance through the City Council, and basically that's what we have here.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from members of council for staff? Public hearing, any comments or questions from the public? Thank you. We'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman? Yes. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos? Yes. Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
An ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending City Code by amending Chapter 22.5 Retirement Plans by amending Article 3 General Employees Retirement Plans by amending Section 22.5134 Conditions relative to optional forms to allow a person who has been elected to receive the retirement benefits in the form of a joint and survivor option to change their designated joint annuity one time after the new retirement date, provided that joint annuity is not deceased, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, and effective date.
I'll entertain a motion for approval on this item.
Second.
The item's been properly moved and seconded. This was actually brought up at one of the pension board hearings, that the employees wanted to have the option of changing the joint survivor. They wanted just to have that option, so we thought that that was very reasonable, and this would be no expense to the city. It really is, it's really a negative expense, but if there is any expense, the person who's changing the survivorship will bear the brunt of any expense. So it is a zero impact on the city. So thank you. Any comments or questions from members of council on this item? Any comments from the public? Thank you. We'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman? Yes. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos? Yes. Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Since we've already completed tab 17, that actually concludes this agenda. So we'll now open the floor for public comments. Any member of the public that would like to come and speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes. Thank you. Turn the microphone.
My daughter, Katie, my name is Don Bowerman, 879 Northwest 9th Court, Homestead, Florida. Been living here since 1991. First of all, I want to commend the city for an awesome job on the dog park. We have been enjoying this dog park. This park is awesome. It was a great job, and it was nice to see. It's the nicest one we've seen anywhere. So we want to thank you for that. The reason I'm here is times are tough. We all know that. We do a lot of family things together. And my daughter, Katie, who is 8 years old, came up with a great idea because I didn't think of it, so it's better I didn't. But she came up with an idea that we were at the park, and there's a lot of people there looking out, and they're sweating, and they're just wiped out. And the water that's there is not cold, okay, and they don't drink it. And so what we did was we went ahead and had an idea of selling some water, and we got in trouble. Now, I didn't know we were going to get in trouble, so I apologize. But I found out a little bit more research on the issue, and it seems to be, I'm not clear on the reasons why the ordinance says that we can't sell water. I know that it could be a liability issue, which I can purchase $1 million worth of liability, so I would be covered. There's not a lot of people out there that would do that, okay? I would like to be licensed if there's an opportunity to open that up to discussion, to possibly have a license with the city to be able to do it, because there are licenses everywhere else but the city. I don't exactly understand why we can't do it, because I haven't come up with a clear answer from anyone. So I don't know where the next step needs to be. I've talked to a lot of people, and I've got a lot of signatures from some of the City of Homestead residents that would agree that this needs to either have an opportunity to let us do it. We're only doing it for 2 hours in the evening. The people that are there, the first pages I got here are all the people working out who live in the city, who say it's a great idea, and they want to buy the water and the Gatorade. So I don't know where I go from now on here to find out what the next step is.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baumann. I do know that the problem is we have an anti-peddlers ordinance in the City of Homestead. At this time, I'm going to defer to the city manager and probably over to Development Services to see if there's anything that we can do to help you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor, just give an answer right now. Mayor, council members, under the existing code, it's not allowed. And I wasn't aware of the gentleman's issue. You know, if you say get into trouble, the chief and his staff can work it out for you if you did receive any violations or anything.
No.
But you didn't receive a violation.
No, I stopped. When I was told you were out there, and you said no selling, because other people were doing it. And because you said that, I stopped selling, and I went to the issue of talking to people to try to find out if they would support me in getting some kind of resolution on that. Because I don't know when the ordinance was started, but in these times, okay, which are pretty bad times, I mean, for myself it has been, this is extra income that actually puts gas in my car so we can do things with the kids and take them to school and other things. I would like to find out if there's any way to make any room for improvement on the ordinance. I know the ordinance is there, but I don't understand, except for someone told me that's possible, they didn't want peddling going to businesses, and I can understand that. I'm not doing that. I'm sitting on a park bench giving people work, and I just wanted to find out if there's any way possible that this can be either reconstructed or changed in a way where if I need to have liability, I'll purchase the liability. If I have to have a license, I'll purchase the license, because it is a lot of good things for these kids to have the time to go there and actually do this. This is her idea, and it was bringing extra income in to help the family. So without taking too much more time, if you direct me on what we can do, I'd like to pursue it.
We would like to be talking to you. You could give your phone number to Joanna here. Okay. And we will call you to discuss.
Okay.
John, and just so that you'll know that it was never anything personal against you selling water. I think what the issue is with the peddlers in the City of Homestead is not you selling water. It's the fact that many people, when they go into the city's parks, they have an expectation. Many people, you say that they're happy about you selling the water. That's great. But there are many people that don't want to be approached. They don't want to be solicited. They don't want to be approached. They want to be able to go to the park and run and walk and do whatever they want to do without being approached. And the Pandora's box opening is the problem. And I think we can look at it, evaluate it, and see if there's anything that we can do. But there's a problem, because if we allow a peddler's license and then you're in there, then the next guy's going to be selling Coke and Sprite, and then they're going to be selling snacks. And we don't want people selling stuff all over our city parks. And so that's the reason for the ordinance. It's not at all against you. And I totally understand what you're saying about the water, but we have to weigh out. We're going to have to take a look at the ordinance and take a look and see if there's any possible way of tweaking it without opening up this Pandora's box of allowing peddlers. You can't say yes to you over there at James Edgar Smith Hospital Park without opening up the Pandora's box for the entire City of Homestead. Okay. But we will take a look at it. I assure you the manager will be taking a look at it, and I'm glad to hear that there was no citation that we really just asked not to do that.
Right. And there was one other thing that I just want to mention. Everybody told me that there's no peddling, but there's 7 ice cream trucks that run through City of Homestead, and I took pictures of them. Okay, I have pictures of them, and they were at the park the day that you were there, and I took pictures of it that day. okay? Because if you're not aware of it, I'm just bringing it to your attention, okay? And I'm not pointing fingers or nothing, because I know the City of Homestead Police Department has done a great job, and I love what they do. In 5 minutes, they're at my house. So I just want you to know that there are them out there, and they're very sneaky about their times when they come. Everybody's out of your office at 5 o'clock. Everybody goes home and does their family things. You don't know they're there, and they're there. So I just want to let you know that I understand the rules, the ordinance, but if I'm not allowed to do it, then they're not allowed to do it. So I just want to make sure that
That would be correct.
Okay. Just for the information of council and people again here and watching from home, there's in Homestead, and this is for many, many years, we do not allow mobile vendors.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Against mobile vendors, including ice cream trucks. I personally don't report seeing them, but he said they do it in a sneaky way, so if somebody has a box in the back of the truck, I can assure you that we have undercover police and we have bar attendants, and now we are going to pay very close attention. It's nothing against you, like the mayor said earlier. I don't remember speaking to you, but I remember speaking to a lady through a translator who was pushing a baby cart with sodas and water, and I said that's not allowed on water. It's not allowed in the city, be it worst in a bar. Right. But you are completely correct. This is this is implemented citywide. Do people sometimes break the law and we don't catch it? Absolutely, but we will keep very close eye. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Nelson, I think Councilman Nelson.
I'd like to make a little bit. I was by there last night and I saw the ice cream truck there. I did call and had the police come to tell them to leave. If you see that, then call for it. Until maybe we can look at this and change it, but the thing is just make a phone call, and it's unfortunate. I understand it's hard times, and just bear with us. Maybe we can see something change.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I'm here. I wasn't trying to stir up the hornet's nest,
but you know what? That's okay. No, let us take a look at it, Don. Let us take a look at it and get back with you.
Thank you very much.
Because sometimes there are unintended consequences of good ordinances and good ideas. So let us have a look at that.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
God bless.
I can't believe how big that baby is already.
Yep.
They grow like weeds.
Thank you so much. Ms. Driver.
Good evening, Commissioner Driver, VPF South Lane, 1515 Redland Road, Florida City, Florida, 33034. I just wanted to share some information with you all real briefly. I know you are aware of the proposed cuts by Miami-Dade County. I understand that Farm Share was here during the presentation earlier tonight, so you are aware of how that is impacting their organization. We have formed a small partnership called the South Dade CBO Action Group. It is made up of CEOs and executive directors of community-based organizations in Homestead and Florida City. And we got together to begin to look at how those cuts are going to affect the Deep South Dade community. And when we say Deep South Dade, we're referring to strictly Homestead and Florida City, not including Leisure City. We have a preliminary report to share with you as to how that's going to affect this community in dollars and in people. And if you would just indulge me about 1 minute, I'll be able to run through this real quick. Please. We did about a survey, and we had about 14 community-based organizations respond to our survey. That doesn't represent all of the organizations that receive county funds, but it's a pretty good representation. Those organizations, if the cuts go through as proposed by the mayor, will result in a more than $2 million loss of funds for the Homestead, Florida City community. That does not include Farm Share's amount. So if we include Farm Share, that bumps us to about $2.3 million that will be lost out of Homestead and Florida City. An additional almost $2 million in leverage funds or matching funds will be lost as well. So we're looking at about $4 million taken from this community. Additionally, more than 11,000 clients that are currently receiving services in Homestead and Florida City will no longer be able to access those services. 31 full-time employees will lose their jobs, and 21 part-time employees will lose their jobs. How this impact will affect us, we'll have more people living on the streets.
we'll have a rise in crime, a rise in illiteracy, an increase in truancy, and those impacts will end up costing all of us more because there will be more need for police, people in jails, youth staying back in school, seniors needing medical care, and hospital costs for persons mentally ill. The arts and culture programs will be deeply affected. All the cuts will have a heavy human cost, and there will be increased need for the very services that are being cut. We're providing all types of human and social services. Once we begin to lose their jobs, they're going to have need of those services, and they won't be able to access them. And lastly, the cuts will, as I mentioned before, increase in job loss for Homestead and Florida City. Again, we did not tap all of the community-based organizations, so all of these numbers will increase as we look at the other organizations that currently receive funds from Miami-Dade County. So as I said, I just wanted to make you all aware of how those cuts will affect our community. I do have copies of the complete report that I'm willing to share with you all, and if you have any questions, I can entertain those. Thank you. Kamichi, would you leave the copies of that with the clerk so we can all take a look at it? Thank you. We understand that across the board, CBOs are being affected across the board. I mean, this is not just going on all over in Miami-Dade County. It's going on all over in the nation. If you need us to sign our letters again, like we offered for Patricia, whatever we can do, you know how to reach me, Patricia. That would be very helpful. We are joined forces with the Human Services Coalition. We have a countywide campaign going, a penny-wise, pound foolish, and we are looking for individuals to serve as spokespersons. We'd love to have you, Mayor Bell, if you would be willing to do an interview. I can contact you or any other council members. We'd love to be able to get a soundbite or something from you regarding this cut. We know that there will be cuts. We are not asking the county to totally leave us unaffected by cuts. We are asking that they don't totally eliminate those funds and that they also look at other sources to be able to cover those revenues. So we're realistic and we are bracing ourselves for a cut, but total elimination would be just devastating. My organization in particular would be devastated as well by it. So, but we didn't cut you. No, you did not cut me. However, in actuality, if these cuts go through as proposed, you would probably have to find someone else to funnel those funds through because we wouldn't be able to handle it. Thank you for that. We'll talk. We'll work together. Okay. Thank you so much, Katrina. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Business from the city manager.
Mayor, council members, let me just start by saying, Mayor, before you leave.
I'll be right back.
Before you leave, please. I'll be really quick. I'd like to take this opportunity, Mayor, to congratulate you for being elected for the board of League of City Mayors. This is an honor, and it's my understanding this is the first from the first submittal. But Mayor, I witness you doing so many firsts. I don't know which one is first anymore. So I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
On behalf of my staff, and great job, Mayor.
Thank you so much. It really was great. I know I'm a member of the board of directors for the Florida League of Mayors. So to be elected the very first time was pretty unusual, they told me. So I'm proud of that. But thank you. I'm glad to serve all of you. And it just gives us another voice. It gives us a voice not just in Miami-Dade County, but it gives us a voice in Tallahassee as well, a continued voice. So thank you for that, Mr. Manager. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Now you can leave, Mayor. No problem.
I'll be fine. Too much water.
Actually, I wanted to defer the rest of them for Joanna to read, so please, Joanna, go ahead.
As of last week, the city's channel on Comcast has moved from channel 97 to channel 77. City Hall will be closed on Monday, September 7th in observance of Labor Day. Garbage and trash will be collected as scheduled. The next Chrome Avenue Cruising and Music in the Park will take place the third Saturday of the month. That brings it to September 19th. The car show will begin at 5:30 and the concert will begin at 6 o'clock. And unfortunately, because of the weather, this past Saturday's event had to be canceled. If you would like to sign up to receive information via email, please visit our website at www.cityofhomestead.com and click on email subscription. That's all the information from the city manager's office. Thank you.
Mr. Wallace, quick question. I know that many residents in Keysville are switching over to AT&T through the HOA over there, and just for those that we can get the word out there, they have come to the city to try to get a channel together. So just, we're not sure when or anything, but I want to let people know that if you could just give them a little brief.
Correct. We did receive a letter from AT&T letting us know that they are in the process of putting together a PEG channel for us. We will be meeting with them, I believe, sometime next week, if not the following week, so that we can put some scheduling together with the clerk's office and through our PRO marketing manager. So as soon as that's up and running, we will definitely notify you.
Thank you, because I know those people over there, they like to watch your TV and watch us, so thank you. Councilman Nelson. Thank you. Last summer I asked staff and the city manager if they could do a 28-day meter reading for the electric and water for the city of Homestead. I was contacted last week by a resident that had a 36 or 38-day cycle, which bumped the electric bill up another $70 to $90. We need to really work during the summer months at making it shorter because it matters to some people. I would like to see if we could maybe extend the grace period for paying on a bill that was on a 38-day cycle or 36-day cycle to maybe another 15 days or something. Because, summertime, it's hard. A lot of people out of work right now. I'd just like to make that, see if we could do something to help that out. I was also contacted by a resident about Mallory Street. I brought this up last year. I think you, Mr. Manager, told me that Dade County has it planned to be resurfaced.
Mayor, council members, yes, the county has it in their capital projects for major improvement, which include resurfacing, drainage, curb and gutter for that whole road. Of course, one of the challenges we have on that road is also the railroad crossing. I can tell you this is something Joanna and we will be constantly working with the CSX trying to have it fixed, but I can tell you CSX, frankly speaking, I don't have any kind of word to say, so I stay quiet. But I spoke to Bob Levy after I had the conversation with you. Bob knows people at CSX. It's my plan after September to go and meet with their president to start talking about this issue, because it's not only the road and the crossings, also the right-of-way, the maintenance of the right-of-way, the trash on the right-of-way, and of course they are sovereign entities, so they practically not paying enough attention to us. So I will go and try to brainstorm with them and see what we can do there. But back to Mallory Drive, yes, you are correct. There was a time where we requested from the county to move the funding to another project because the development was going faster on the east side. But now, Julio, it's one of the projects funded by the county. And again, we talked earlier in my budget presentation about money we got through the federal government. We've got $2 million, again, with the help of Mari Escalon. And definitely, it's something we will push harder for it to be done. But this is one of the things I really want to take advantage to speak about, because when you have a project within our control, and I said it in CDBG presentation a few days ago, we can move at lightning speed. But when something we don't have control over, we call and we send emails and we go and meet, and it's like it moves at somebody else's speed. And I can tell you, it frustrates me, it frustrates you, and citizens sometimes don't know this is not a City of Homestead project. Just to, again, take an advantage of this time, Mallory Drive, Campbell Drive, 137, 328, US 1 are not City of Homestead roads. So you see the grass growing, the landscaping not being properly done sometimes. We push hard for it, especially 137. You could see the grass was about 4 feet. And I can't tell you, I'm sure all of you received emails complaining about it. The only thing we can do is forward it to the county and just beg and plead for them to do it.
Okay, thank you. Also on that, Mallory, west of Chrome Avenue, if it's possible, it's a major safety issue if we could maybe get out and do some of the center line striping, because there's the lines are gone. And it's kind of hard to tell at night, if it's raining, if you're in the middle of the street. It's very dark out in that area also.
Again, Councilman Wilson, we will request it from the county. It's a traffic issue, and they have jurisdiction over traffic related issues. And of course, it's their road, so we will definitely request it from them.
Thank you.
We will be sending an email as we speak.
Thank you very much. I also attended the National Night Out Against Crime. We had a nice evening at the new dog park. A week ago, I attended the back-to-school fair with Dr. Larry Feldman at Homestead Middle School. We had about 10 or 11 local schools come out with information of their school, and I also talked with them next year. We're going to incorporate some of the local businesses to do food or information for them out there. Next week is the opening of school. I would like to make a suggestion to the parents whose children are going to be picked up early in the morning. Take a walk out in the neighborhood, make sure the lighting is very good at night. In my neighborhood is on Redland Road. I had 2 street lights out in that one area where there's children picked up at 6 in the morning. So I think it would be a good safety initiative to go out and make sure that your kids are getting picked up in a well-lit area. And the other thing is I attended the Florida League of Cities this weekend, and already have some meetings planned with the manager and the attorneys to see if I can bring some of that stuff forward to us. So with that said, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Nelson, while we're on your committee, I would like to go ahead and share something. The warning period for the red light running cameras expires on Thursday, August 27th. So I want to give everybody a warning to stop at the red lights because you're going to get a ticket. But since the warning period began on May 28th, 1,410 warnings have been issued. Do we have that CD available that we can show some of the actual? Let's everybody take a look at the monitors. You can see what this. Look at this.
Oh my gosh.
That light had been red at least how many seconds? Just gonna show it again. Let's take it.
That was red,
That was really red. Wow. Thank you. Almost every day, almost every time when I leave the City Hall, right here on it's First Road?
Yes.
Right here on First Road, when you go out the side road and there's the 2 left-hand turn lanes, right there, nobody, almost without exception, nobody stops that red light. You cannot go on that green. If you go out the side way and go to the First Road, you dare not go on a green. Nobody stops at that red light. So that's one that we need to go ahead and put a camera on as well. Anyway, thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. Next item is Councilman Sierra.
Thank you, Mayor Bell. I'm going to start off by mentioning that the mayor will be honored at an event next week at the Miami-Dade County Women's Park. The Women's Park, which was officially dedicated in 1992, began as a dream of a pioneer feminist, Roxy Bolton, who envisioned a park and history gallery in honor of all women of Miami-Dade County and their contributions to our community. The Women's Park is dedicated to all women in Miami-Dade County in recognition of their diverse contributions to improving our community's quality of life. Mayor Bell will be recognized for her contributions as the first woman mayor in the city of Homestead. So congratulations for that, Mayor Bell. I do want to mention that we do have an education committee meeting this Thursday at 5:15 here at City Hall. Anybody that's interested in joining that dynamic group, please be here. I also want to let everyone know that the City of Homestead Education Foundation, which was recently approved by Council, will be looking for board members. As many of you know, I will not be able to be a board member on that board. This is an independent board outside of the city. All the city has done is facilitate the creation of this 501c3, correct? And will facilitate in the selection of that board. Apart from that, this will now be an independent board. Richard, if I'm incorrect, please stop me and make the corrections. So I do want to clarify that. Some people were asking, well, why aren't you on that board, and why is the city spending money on this? Well, we're not. We're just facilitating the creation of that 501c3, and now that board will run independent to the actual city. So thank you for allowing me to clarify that. Another thing I do want to mention is that the Tourism Committee will begin again. Those of you that are interested in being a part or a member of the Tourism Committee, please submit your interest to, we're doing Carrie? Okay, Carrie Latour here at the city. Want to mention that the AYSO is opening this Saturday. I'm very excited. There are so many great things going on right now. The soccer starting, and as well as Dick Conway football, which started their tryouts tonight. A lot of things for the kids with school starting. And as many of you know, that is my passion, is the children of our city. There is going to be another opening in the Education Committee as a voting member. There is a resident position that has resigned from the committee because of health issues. So if you're interested in being a part of the Education Committee as a voting member, you do need to be a resident for this particular position. Kindly submit your interest to psullivan@cityofhomestead.com. I will tell you, Mayor, I went to the new skate park in Council. I went to the new skate park with my son Michael the other day. And he loves skating. He does all these public park skates. And he was explaining to me that the equipment that we have, the setup that we have, the size that we have is the best amongst any public skate park in the area with the rails. So I congratulate. I was sharing it with Robert. I congratulate Robert and the crew and the gentleman that was there putting it all together. Such enthusiasm. I put it on my Facebook one day, and within a matter of minutes I was getting personal messages to my Facebook, parents asking me if this was for real, and then waking up their kids to make sure that the kids would see the picture that I had put on my Facebook. So thank you again for that. This is great. I have a question. I believe Ms. Faddis has an answer for me. I would like to get an update on the monument signs that we approved a while back ago. I know that was in the current budget, and I want to make sure that that gets done. It's really important. Our signs are ugly, and we need to represent our city in a better way when you're coming into it. Do we have an update on that?
Yes, we do, Madam Chair. We're actually in the process of discussing the issue with our consultant. They're in the design and permitting phase, and we anticipate being able to get it done by mid to late September.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much for that. Yes?
Since we talk about the skate park, if you don't mind, I'd like to also thank the banker, chief, and people, because it's coming from
And last but not least, part of the voter registration team here at the City of Homestead. And due to that, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that elections are fast approaching. Please make sure you register to vote, or if you're new to our city, to change your address so that you can vote within our city. Voter registration applications are available in the back table. They're available in English, Spanish, and Creole. The last dates to register are the following. For the September 7th primary election, for the October 6th primary election, the last day to register is September 7th.